Are they legendaries? Are they mythicals? Or are they something else entirely? These are the Ultra Beasts. In Sun and Moon, these Pokemon come from other dimensions and worlds through Ultra wormholes and certainly look like it with their odd and sometimes creepy looking designs. Tell me you weren't creeped out when you saw these Pokemon Go ads. I was afraid for my freaking life. These Pokemon are sometimes considered legendary, but many fans would lay their lives on the line and fight until their very last breath to say otherwise. They are very divisive and cause many arguments from what I've seen. But what if I told you that I think that the Ultra Beasts have a hidden potential to them? That's right, some people may think these freaky looking weirdos that are straight out of Lilo and Stitch looking like one of his cousins are just crazy and we hate them, but I think they could be great. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, I was also inspired to make this video today because they just announced a new pack coming to Pokemon TCG Pocket featuring the Ultra Beasts and I wanted to talk about them. By the way, can we all agree that Extra Dimensional Crisis is a crazy name for a pack? But before we go ahead and hop on our Solgaleo or Lunala and dive into an Ultra Wormhole to discuss this potential, make sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button if you too have a secret soft spot for the Ultra Beasts like I do. I mean, just look at this little cutie. How could you not love these adorable aliens? Alright, now I'm starting to sound like Lucamine. I gotta stop. To start explaining why I think the Ultra Beasts could have so much more going on, we need to look into the lore we get for them in Gen 7. The Ultra Beasts are Pokemon that are not of our world, but are actually from a range of other worlds that we can reach through Ultra Wormholes. Now, we've had plenty of Pokedex entries in the past of Pokemon stating that they may not be from our world, but this is the first time that we've seen Pokemon explicitly coming from these other dimensions. Somebody better call Doctor Strange because we got a whole multiverse of madness. Wow, my first Marvel reference. I literally just started watching Phase 2. But back to the Ultra Beasts, these Pokemon are considered an invasive species, and not only that, they're essentially aliens on our world. What's interesting about this as well is that Ultra Beasts are also kind of similar to Paradox Pokemon, which also kind of are not of this world and don't really fit in. They have around the same stats for all of them, and they're also a central figure in their game's storyline. But in their worlds that they come from, some of these Pokemon are even considered to be common, or like Poipole might even be considered a starter Pokemon of that world. We see in Generation 7 in Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon that the Ultra Beasts are invading the Alola region through some of these rogue Ultra Wormholes that are opening up throughout the region. The main plotline in Generation 7 that includes our Ultra Beasts starts off with our president of the Aether Foundation, Lucamine, who becomes quite enamored and kind of obsessed with these Ultra Beasts and their strange beauty, which in our world could kind of be compared to people who love to put on their tinfoil hats and are obsessed with finding aliens on our planet. We come to find out that Lily, one of the main characters of Pokemon Sun and Moon and the daughter of Lucamine, actually ended up taking a Pokemon called Cosmog or Nebby, which has the ability to open up some of these Ultra Wormholes to get to other dimensions. Definitely makes a lot of sense why she's pretty much getting chased throughout the entire game and people trying to kidnap Nebby. This wouldn't be happening if Nebby just stayed in the bag. Cosmog's original home is Ultra Space, which is an interdimensional spatial realm that links all of the worlds together. Now, Cosmog and its evolution line are not the only Pokemon that can open up these wormholes, but also Necrozma can. Now, what does all of this lore and plot and descriptions have to do with the hidden potential of Ultra Beasts? Trust me, we're getting there. Remember that second Pokemon that I just mentioned, Necrozma? Yeah, actually kind of really important for the plot of this game and for the lore of the Ultra Beasts and the worlds that they come from. Necrozma, although not an Ultra Beast itself in all forms of media, definitely has a lot to do with a lot of the Ultra Space activity that's going on, including the stealing of light from all worlds. This is where we get to the Ultra Recon Squad. Yes, they look like silly space people in their suits, but their plotline is actually kind of crazy when you think about it. Their world and place that they come from, which is the Ultra Megalopolis, which quite a name that is, sounds like something out of a comic book. In ancient times, Necrozma's light shone through the Ultra Wormholes connecting to various worlds such as the Ultra Beast homeworld, Ultra Megalopolis, and the Pokemon world, primarily over the Alola region. However, following an incident of the residents of Ultra Megalopolis in ancient years, Necrozma's body was damaged and it lost the ability to produce light. the agony caused by its injuries sending it into a berserk state where it constantly hungered for light. So much so that it took all of the light from their world and then just dipped. It's also theorized that these sparkling stones that we find throughout the game used to power our Z rings and utilize Z moves actually may have come from Necrozma's light and Necrozma's body. Now, where does all of this matter in the scheme of things for the Ultra Beast? Well, I think that all of this lore and all of this going on and knowing the events of what took place in Ultra Megalopolis and that all these worlds at one point were connected, this sounds like a fantastic plot for a potential Pokemon Legends Necrozma. Now hear me out before I sound too crazy. This is the main point that I want to make in today's video. I firmly believe that there is enough story and lore and plot going on for a lot of these Ultra Beasts, including Necrozma, that I think would make a fantastic story for a whole game centered around them. But I don't think that this game would need to take place in Alola. Sure, we could visit Alola, but I think there's a potential that we could just take place in Ultra Megalopolis and visiting a lot of the other worlds. Now, I know it's pretty much confirmed that Pokemon ownership does not really exist in this world and that people more so share Pokemon to use their powers, but it's officially stated that Poipole kind of is a starter Pokemon in a sense, so I'm assuming they just more or less work together instead of having things like Pokeballs. And I would take this as a challenge for them to try to create some way, shape, or form to make a battle system work for a world that doesn't exactly have battling or capturing Pokemon going on. And you know what Pokemon series has been known for switching up the battle systems and doing different, fresh, exciting things? The Pokemon Legends series. I imagine a game where you start off in Ultra Megalopolis and you could start off with either a range of different starter Pokemon to choose from, or you could start off with a Cosmog that eventually helps you discover other worlds through its ability to access the Ultra Wormholes. This game would also be super fresh and exciting because all of the Ultra Beast Pokemon that we would consider aliens and odd and strange in our known Pokemon world would become the new normal. They'd become the Pokemon that we're all kind of used to seeing in these worlds, and our Pokemon from our Pokemon world would kind of become the odd ones. I know this would kind of be very, very crazy and out there and would likely never happen, mostly because they wouldn't want to take away kind of the legendary, if you can even call it that, because I know they're not really legendaries, but they sort of are, status of our current Ultra Beasts. And if Ultra Beasts became the normal, then the ones we currently have just wouldn't feel as special, which I don't think they would want to do. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't like to see it. We already have plenty of other Ultra Wormholes and different worlds to explore that we've already seen, but I know they would include more as well. But the ones that we already know of that I think would be great to expand upon would be where you can find our current Ultra Beasts, such as Nihilagos' home in the Deep Sea, Buzzwole's home in the Ultra Jungle, Pheromosa's home in the Ultra Desert, Xurkitree's home in the Ultra Plant, Celesteela's home in the Ultra Crater, Kartana's home in the Ultra Forest, Guzzlord's home in the Ultra Ruin, and maybe finally getting to see where Stakataka and Blacephalon come from, because we don't really get a world for them, and so much more. There's just so many different worlds and so much potential, and I really think that they missed out in Sun and Moon by really not expanding on this a lot more. Sure, we get little glimpses and little areas that we get to explore of these different worlds for the Ultra Beasts, but call me Lusamine because I am greedy, I'm intrigued, I want more, I want to explore these worlds, I want to see what other creatures we can find. Or are these Ultra Beasts that we find the only creatures of these worlds? And if that's the case, there's gotta be more worlds out there with more Ultra Beasts. And that's where I think a Pokemon Legends Necrozma or Pokemon Legends Ultra or something along those lines would be fantastic. And if you're wondering what the plot of this game could potentially be, I have the perfect idea, and where this idea would stem from is something we actually get introduced to in Ultra Sun and Moon in the Rainbow Rocket epilogue. Now, what does Pride Month Team Rocket have anything to do with the plot of this Legends game that I am creating? Well, other than the fact that Giovanni would probably be a guest judge on RuPaul's Drag Race, I think that the Rainbow Rocket episode teaches me a lot of what the potential of these games truly is. We see in this portion of the game that we are facing villains that are not from our world, but in fact are from other worlds where they succeeded in what they set out to do. Like, we're talking about worlds where it's possible that Lysander fired the ultimate weapon. Are we insane? So this shows us that there is a potential of different timelines and options of there might be some Pokemon worlds out there where the villains won and things did not go right. So what's to stop in our Pokemon Legends Alola game from having the Ultra Beast possibly invade the Alola region or Necrozma stealing the region's light, and we have to save it in this bad alternate timeline where things went wrong? I mean, also look at Guzzlord's world of the Ultra Ruin. I mean, this world looks completely destroyed and apocalyptic, and I bet you that Guzzlord has something to do with that. So imagine the Alola region that we know and love, so beautiful and vibrant, having not only its light stolen, but being invaded by a bunch of different Ultra Beasts and alien species that shouldn't be there. I know it's a lot, and it's kind of a big gamble, especially considering that there's not a ton of people that are super fond of the Ultra Beasts. Like, I know they're not unpopular or not great by any means, but they're definitely not the most popular or the most liked Pokemon out there, so having a whole game kind of featured and centering around them would be kind of a risk, but I think the reward would be amazing. So that's exactly why I say it's the hidden potential of Ultra Beast, because I think it's something that a lot of people would love to see, but it's not something we may ever get to see. When I first played Generation 7 when I was younger, I will even admit that I don't think I completely understood all of the lore and everything that was going on with these Ultra Beasts and everything from the Ultra Recon Squad and Necrozma and Ultra Megalopolis. I don't think I really got everything, but now that I'm older with my sort of functioning adult brain and adult job, I can understand that there is a lot going on here that I think there would be enough stuff here to work with to make an entire game that could be expanded upon. The Ultra Beasts, which I originally viewed as weird and odd, and they didn't fit into our Pokemon world, I started to realize that that's exactly what they are meant to be and meant to be doing. Let me know down in the comment section below if you would ever in the future of the Pokemon series love to see more of the Ultra Space and Ultra Beast world expanded upon, and just see more of them in general. There is so much to work with here, and I think that Pokemon would have a fantastic game if they just took the risk. Well, that, and I would really just want to go on an adventure with my Poipole. I really love that Pokemon.